Ladies and gentlemen, I am officially running for President of the United States, and we are going to make our country great again.
Welcome back to Retrospective Reviews, where we give fresh eyes to old media. On today's Retrospective, we will comprehensively look at January 6th, as well as Trump's first presidency and the campaign leading up to his second presidency. 8 years to today's date, Yahoo Finance made a blunder when they tweeted that Donald Trump wanted a Navy instead of a bigger Navy. And it wouldn't be the only time Trump got caught in a flurry of Twitter fingers, but we'll get more into that later. Right after Trump was inaugurated in 2017, he came out the gate swinging with fascism. One of his first executive orders was the Muslim travel ban. So he banned travel from 7 Muslim countries, including Iran, Iraq, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, Syria, and Yemen. And after the Supreme Court voted on it in a 5-4 ruling, they expanded it to Venezuela, North Korea, Eritrea, Kyrgyzstan, Myanmar, Nigeria, and Tanzania. And these bans were eventually repealed in 2021, but I feel like a precedent was set after he did that. Throughout his presidency, Trump was known for his volatile and racist rhetoric and actions. And this rhetoric included referring to 4 football players as SOBs because they decided to kneel during the national anthem.
Wouldn't you love to see one of these NFL owners, when somebody disrespects our flag, to say, get that son of a bitch off the field right now, out, he's fired.
But unfortunately, this was not the only time Donald Trump had a targeted attack and engaged in anti-black action and rhetoric. In 2018, he was under fire because he called Haiti and other black countries shithole countries. Throughout his presidency, Trump held a disdain for many things, including black people and protests, except when the protests were in his favor. So when it came to Black Lives Matter, it was when the looting starts, the shooting starts. But when it came to January 6th insurrectionists, it was, we love you, go home. And let's talk about that for a second. For a president to sit and tweet, when the looting starts, the shooting starts, that is very telling that democracy is in a downward spiral, because he was able to tweet that with virtually no repercussions. And he was really one of the first people to get a community note on his tweet, and they had to flag it for violence because that's what it was. And these piss poor responses and legal proceedings were what made up Trump's legacy. After Hurricane Maria, he tossed paper towel into a crowd like it was a game. And at the height of COVID-19, he asked medical professionals if it was advisable to have people inject bleach into their systems to fight off the virus.
I see the disinfectant where it knocks it out in a minute, 1 minute. And is there a way we can do something like that by injection inside or almost a cleaning, because you see it gets on the lungs and it does a tremendous number on the lungs. So it'd be interesting to check that. So that you're going to have to use medical doctors with. But it sounds interesting to me.
In all honesty, Donald Trump's political career should have ended on January 6, 2021. So starting in November 2020, after he lost, there were fraud claims that were put out by him and his cohort, Rudy Giuliani. And then in 2021, he started tweeting, we have won the election, and there were warnings about the January 6th proceedings. And before I continue, I just want to get into those warnings. I don't understand why, with all the warnings and all the signs that this insurrection was going to take place, nothing was done to prevent it. Like Steve Bannon told his podcast audience to strap in. That's a direct threat. And then on the day of the events, Trump tweeted that Mike Pence was going to handle the election for him. And then he had a bunch of rallies on January 6th. And there were armed individuals at the ellipse, and still nothing was being done to prevent this from happening. There were Proud Boys marching on the Capitol. Trump gave a 1-hour speech where he ended by saying, "We fight." and still the insurrection was allowed to happen. And even after the insurrection, he had a video saying, "We love you, go home," and he was still denying the election.
Such a thing happened where they could take it away from all of us, from me, from you, from our country. This was a fraudulent election, but we can't play into the hands of these people. We have to have peace. So go home. We love you. You're very special. You've seen what happens. You see the way others are treated that are so bad and so evil. I know how you feel. But go home and go home in peace.
And this was not the only scandal he had regarding being elected. During this campaign, he told people they would never have to vote again once they voted for him, which was a direct threat to democracy. Not to mention that he packed the Supreme Court so that they'd rule in his favor. And as we grapple with the horror of another Trump presidency, let us remember him for who he is.
Would I approve waterboarding? You bet your ass I'd approve it. You bet your ass. In a heartbeat.
And I'd bring back a hell of a lot worse than waterboarding.
I want surveillance of certain mosques, okay? If that's okay.
Because they are recruiting by the thousands. They're leaving our country. And then when they come back, we take them back. Oh, come on back. Where were you? I was fighting for ISIS. Oh, come on back. Go home. Enjoy yourself.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure to go to rebel.com and read some of our stories about Trump. For a new series entitled EnTRUMPed, we are going to look at Trump's trials and tribulations during his second presidency. So be on the lookout for that, and see you in the next one.